What is something perfectly legal that feels illegal? Walking underneath the nothing to declare sign at customs, even though you literally don't have anything to declare. Taking something into a store like Lowe's or Home Depot to make sure you can find the correct adapter or connection, then walking out with it and not paying for anything after not finding the correct connector. When you enter a store with your own stuff, you need to wave it around at the cameras, so if they try to bust you, you just say, "Check the footage, I'm innocent." And then they say, "That's great. This is Papa John's. We didn't expect you to be stealing a wrench from us." But those aren't your pizzas. Walking through a metal detector always puts me on edge. Feel like out of nowhere I'm suddenly concealing a weapon. First drive after getting a driver's license. It's been years since I was in mandatory education, yet I still feel weird being out in town during the day on a school day, waiting for someone on the street when there's a cop around. As a pet sitter for pets in my complex, even though people give me their key to get into their house, it still feels really weird entering someone's house, especially when I don't know them all that well. Quick tangent. One time, while leaving the person's house and locking the door behind me, a neighbor approached me at the end of the driveway and started talking to me. They were trying to be subtle, but it was clearly obvious that they thought I'd stolen something. Even after I showed them the key that the owners had given me and reassuring them that I was only there to feed the cat, I could still feel them watching me as I walked back to my place. After getting out of the army, calling everyone at work by their first names, or using an umbrella. Unpaid internships. It's basically slavery if you don't get any connections from it. Buying alcohol for the first few months after turning 21. When you get a craving for cake in the middle of the night and try to open that damned plastic container, and suddenly the whole damn neighborhood is awake and knows your shame. Taking your first newborn home from the hospital with no prior training or experience. Collecting dead rats in the tunnels of the local sewage system and tying their tails together into a wreath. Sometimes this procedure brings them back to life, creating a cursed superorganism. I know there are no explicit laws against it, but I feel like God frowns upon it. Working in advertising, I find how much info I can collect on a specific individual is super creepy. As a general note, just don't sign up for newsletters. The stuff you unknowingly give companies on yourself is scary. Feels so creepy. Just your email and full name is enough for people to know your whole life if they put that stuff into Facebook or other networks. Taking a shower while someone else is asleep and accidentally dropping one of the soap bottles. That shit is far louder than if you were home alone or if everyone was awake. When the hospital billed me for my 38-hour stay, to the tune of $97,000. Selling subprime mortgages to people who absolutely cannot afford them, and back-end bundling them as investment funds to resell to investors, betting they will fail and taking out insurance against that failure with the purpose of getting rich off the insurance, while all the investors in those funds go broke, the housing economy bursts, and the entire global economy suffers. It happened. We bailed out the banks, America lost its shirt, and not one move has been made to make this fully unethical practice illegal. Walking on the middle of an asphalt road with no cars around makes me feel like a teenage movie rebel. Calmly walking past a police officer anywhere in the world at any time. This is often accompanied by the awkwardness of deciding whether or not to acknowledge their presence. Before coming to a decision about how to best handle this encounter, the officer will look at you. At this point, your brain is so far beyond its intended capacity for directing your body to maintain normal composure that your gait pattern breaks down as your arms begin to swing out of sync with your legs. This dissonance is just noticeable enough to make it look as if you're considering an immediate sprint in the opposite direction away from the officer. Then, as you decide to offer up a smile to politely acknowledge the officer's glance, it's then inevitable that you become consciously aware of this internal struggle to use your limbs in a normal way, such that the mental effort required to regain your normal stride detracts from that which was momentarily dedicated to smiling. The result is that only half the muscles in your face respond very asymmetrically. The eventual expression is one that conveys your internal state of complete emotional disarray with total clarity. As you pass the officer and realize you're safe, the next 30 minutes is spent mulling over your life to figure out what the hell is wrong with yourself that you can become so easily crippled consequent to an entirely trivial interpersonal encounter. Thanks for watching. Check out our other videos for more stories, questions, and wild moments.